Hey guys, it's Christy and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about some makeup brands I tried for the very first time in 2022 and whether or not I would purchase more from these brands. So before we get into it, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel before you leave. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy, and let's get into it. All right, so the first brand we're going to talk about is Bare Minerals, and I tried them out for the very first time this year with their bronzers, which I fell madly in love with. I have raved about these blushes. I think these were my #1 top favorite of the entire year. I love this blush formula so much. I think it's everything. It's blendable. It looks so beautiful on the skin. They have like a satin finish. I just love these. And I feel like Bare Minerals is a brand we really don't hear about that often. And I think for that reason, I had just never tried them before this year. But after trying these, I am very curious to try more products. I know Kelly Gooch talks about Bare Minerals quite a bit, so I definitely would try more from this brand. I'm kind of curious about some of their foundations and just some of their other products in general. So I definitely would purchase from Bare Minerals again. So next we have a brand that actually rebranded and launched in Sephora this year, leading me to try them for the first time. So this was Haus Labs, and I tried their Triclone Skin Tech foundation. So they released a line of products in Sephora, and there were some that I was curious about, but none that got me quite as excited as the foundation. So I love reviewing brand new foundations, wear test. I love it so much. So I did decide to pick this up and do a review, and I fell in love with this foundation. So first of all, the packaging. This is such a heavy frosted glass bottle. The cap looks really pretty. It comes in a pump, and it's just one of those that just looks so nice on the vanity. But then when you get using it and playing with it and testing it out, it's such a high quality foundation. It's definitely toward the more medium to full coverage. It dries down pretty matte, but not uncomfortably so. I have dry skin and this still works out really well for me. I really have enjoyed this foundation so much, and this definitely makes me want to try more from the brand. She definitely has, I feel like her lineup is definitely along the more unique. Her bronzer kind of had me curious, but I heard so many mixed reviews that I decided to skip on those. The highlights I just wasn't interested in, and some of the lip products I just wasn't interested in, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on what new products this brand releases. If she comes out with a concealer, I'm gonna be all over that. And I would just be curious to see what else the brand comes out with in the new year, because I would definitely consider purchasing more from Haus Labs. Next, we have a very affordable brand, and I'm talking about SheGlam, which is Shein's makeup line. So this brand definitely found themselves in some hot water this year, rightfully so. However, I did end up trying this foundation out at the beginning of the year, and I really fell in love with it. So this is their Skinfluencer Full Coverage Foundation Balm. This is a great foundation balm. So good. This is definitely very full coverage. It's $8, but it really perfects the skin. So full coverage, looks so good, lasts all day long. This is such a good foundation. I also tried out their powder. I liked the under eye powder, but I didn't love the loose powder for all over the face. But this was so good. So I'm still kind of working out my thoughts, but I really did enjoy this foundation. So I also love how affordable it is, and especially for such a great price point, I really did enjoy this. The next brand is one that I've wanted to try for years and years, and I thought for sure that the first product I tried out from this brand would be eyeshadows, because again, one of my very favorite things to review. I ended up trying a foundation, and this is from Wayne Goss. This is the Luxury Cream Foundation. So Wayne Goss is I love him as a creator. I think he's a brilliant makeup artist, and I've been dying to try out his products for a long time. They are at a much higher price point, so I've really been waiting for something that really gets me excited to review. However, he did come out with his foundation this year, and this was very comparable in price to any other foundation I would purchase at Sephora, so I did pick this up, and this is a good cream foundation. The shade range is currently very limited, but this is a nice one. I will say it does kind of cling to dry patches on me personally, so this is more of a summer foundation for me. The only problem is that I did pick it up in a shade too light, so I'm actually going to have to order this in a slightly darker shade so I can make this work. I think this is brilliant. I think it's great. It's just more of a summer option for me, and I definitely would try more from this brand. I am still very, very curious to pick up some of his eyeshadows, some of his lip products I'm so curious about, but overall I definitely want to try more from Wayne Goss. I also tried out Persona for the first time this year, and I tried out their bronze multi-stick in the shade Dune. So this is a nice little bronzer stick. The only problem is that it's very, very sheer. So it's one that it just blends away too easily. So it's not a favorite of mine. However, I have heard such good things about this brand. I have heard their blushes in particular get raved about this year. So I definitely do want to try more. I would love to try some of their blushes. I think I do have a lip liner here somewhere that I haven't quite tried, but I definitely would try more from this brand. I'm still very, very curious about the blush, particularly the shade Bubble, which looks like the Dior blush, but this is another brand that I would really love to try more from, and we'll try to do so in the new year especially. Next, we have Artist Couture, and this is a brand that I heard both good and negative reviews about before purchasing from them this year. I had heard mixed reviews on their eyeshadows, but I heard such good reviews about the Supreme Bronze palette as well as I think the nudes. So when he released the Supreme Mauves this year, I thought I absolutely want to use this opportunity to try the brand. So the packaging is beautiful. I really love the packaging of his palette. This ended up being just really not a great palette. I don't like this. I like the mattes. They're fine, but the shimmers are so inconsistent. They're either chunky or they're super dry, and you can see just from the palette alone that there is kind of glitter everywhere, all over the lid, and that's just from this shade here, which is incredibly dry, and it's more of a topper. There's really no base to it. I just really did not like this palette, and for that reason I'm not sure if I will purchase another palette from this brand unless I heard really good things first. And finally, the last brand I tried out this year is one I will definitely purchase more from, is Lunar Beauty. So I tried out the Nude Prism palette this year because this is just me in an eyeshadow palette. I think this is the most stunning color story. This has the perfect browns, the perfect pinks, definitely all of my favorite types of shades. And then you get this whole row of beautiful, beautiful shimmers that are the smoothest shimmers I have ever used. Trust me, if you have not tried Lunar Beauty, I would highly recommend them just for this row of shimmers alone. So this is a brand I am definitely going to want to order more from. I know he typically does release some palettes, and a lot of them I think in the past have been quite colorful. So for that reason I don't pick them up. But after this experience, if he comes out with another more neutral palette, I would also consider picking up some blush palettes from him. Heather Austin raves about his lip products, so I would be curious about those too. But that is it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload at least 3 new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!